So today we are doing question answer session rather, right, than a particular topic. So I've been given 3 questions. We'll try to discuss that, and then we'll see if you have anything to add or share like we have done it in the past. I feel let it not be just me sharing my thoughts. Let's do it collectively. Feel free to share any thoughts you may have. I'll just open the floor up each time for you to share your thoughts. Let's collectively address each of these questions and see how we can help each other understand it better. Is that okay with all of you? Yes? Okay. I at least see 2 thumbs up. Several more now. Okay, the first question is analyzing and understanding why we spend so much time on social media. Can it be a good form of escapism when we are going through stressful times? I think something that we can all relate to quite a bit. I have been actually thinking about this for some time, trying to analyze, and the question really says that, analyzing and understanding usage of social media. And I've thought about it. I would say personally, me, I am someone who believes you should be joyful whenever you can, or how much ever you can, or rather all the time you can. And sometimes when people come to me telling they are going through a stressful time, I do tell them the typical spiritual, advice that we give. Along with that, I always tell them, try to watch some short videos that make you laugh. So I feel definitely like you, the second part of the question says, can it be a good form of escapism when we are going through stressful times? I feel rather than thinking of them just as escapism, rather it's something that kind of reminds us in such stressful moment that I know to be joyful too. Sometimes when we are so stressful, we forget that I can be joyful. We just don't think about being joyful at all. And I feel sometimes such videos or music sometimes involuntarily makes us joyful and reminds us that we are joyful. For Ritu, it's BTS clips.
Yeah.
He exposed me to BTS a little bit the last trip that we went to New York and Vermont. So, was that?
I probably didn't choose good songs. Someone else can do a better job.
Next time. So, coming back to social media, I feel why do we end up doing it? I feel that's verily the nature of our mind. For the mind to exist, there has to be one thought after the other that needs to be processed. The very existence of our mind is set of thoughts. Usually, Amma gives an analogy of the mind being like a piece of cloth. Piece of cloth is nothing but strands of threads weaved together, right? We pull one thread strand after the other out, the cloth will cease to exist. We'll still have all the strands of threads, but there's no more cloth. Similarly, if we take one thought out after the other, we'll have a bunch of thoughts, but mind will cease to exist. Basically, when we have the thoughts under control, that's why they say the highest spiritual state, the mind ceases to exist, wherein we have all the thoughts under our control. So when we don't have that, the mind needs one thought after the other to process. So because the mind wants one thought after the other to process, it keeps looking for things around, either people or things that can generate more and more thoughts. And I feel social media probably is an easy venue for this, because it can entertain us, it can keep us engaged. And I feel, very importantly, another reason why we probably get stuck to social media is validation. Each one of us has some way or the other of thinking, and we all have our own likes and dislikes. And there are several others in the world who are like that. And social media probably brings all these together. And thirdly, I feel social media, you know, I have been part of it when I was doing my PhD too, to customize things for the users. So the more and more the social media, each of the social media programs, including YouTube, including even shopping portals like Amazon, they try to understand how you think. They try to analyze how you are, and based on that, they start feeding you things which you like the most. And now the mind is getting more and more satisfied. The more and more we like, we see what we like, the more and more we start liking it. Then it goes in that vicious cycle. So that's probably another reason why we spend so much time on social media. One, because whatever I believe, some others believe that too, and they are voicing that. So that drags me towards it. And two, the more and more I incline towards something, it's giving me more and more of that. So I get stuck in that cycle. So is it good or bad? I don't want to judge, telling you this is bad. I don't want to say this is good either. I think the only thing that we need to think about it being good or bad, or the only way to analyze whether it is good or bad, is how much time am I spending it? And is it productive in nature? Definitely, like I mentioned, watching something nice, something that makes you laugh and joyful is good. But at the same time, you don't want to just keep watching it over and over and over and over again, rather than, compromising on something important that you have to do in life. That holds good with anything. You should always try to have something nice that we consume that makes us good. That doesn't mean you should keep eating all the time. That's not good for your health. It's always good. It's good to go out and play when, especially kids should go out and play, but that doesn't mean they just go out and play for 10 hours every day. That is not good for them. That's going to have unhealthy effect on them. Similarly, the only way to analyze whether it is good or bad is how much are we spending? How much time are we spending? Is it fruitful in nature? I'm sure at some point of time we would realize it is not fruitful in nature. The moment that thought comes, let's try to retreat. And retreating is not always very easy. I would say the best way to do that is, because our mind is, trained to keep focusing on, keep getting engaged in the social media platform. I would say when we realize something like that is happening, let's try to one, change what we are watching and watch something that is a little technical in nature, useful but technical in nature, maybe a spiritual talk, maybe. So that will kind of help our mind withdraw a little bit. And at the same time, the more time we are spending, at least it's justifiable that we're doing something positive. But I feel that's one. Two, I would say we should always have some tool in our in our possession, like chanting our mantra for some time. That will help us withdraw, or go for a walk for 5 minutes. That will help us withdraw. The moment the mind tells us once, our conscience tells us that I'm overdoing it, that very moment, 54 mantras or 4 minutes walk, just go for that. That will get us out of that vicious cycle. That will bring that discontinuity so that we can move on to something else. So those are the initial thoughts I wanted to share. Anything that you would want to add, any one of you?
I'd like to add something. So
yes, please.
I think, like for me particularly, social media got a lot better when I removed a lot of unnecessary people. So for example, on Instagram, I just removed people that I don't talk to, or maybe that I'm not on the best terms with, just because, like, out of sight, out of mind, and it's really helped me enjoy that platform a lot more. And then I also follow a lot of accounts that have like similar hobbies to me, and seeing inspiration from those has made me more artistic and more creative. And then I spend less time on social media and I try the things that I've seen on Instagram.
Good, good. Removing the unnecessary part that you recognize definitely is a very valid point that all of us should make note of. It needn't be just people, it could be certain contents. I've seen that sometimes. I'm not a social media person, but on YouTube, I spend some time on YouTube every day, I should confess. And certain things, when it comes, there's an option saying I'm not interested in this content anymore, on this topic anymore. I just consciously do that so that I'm not stuck in that cycle the next time. Good point. Anyone else?
I'd like to add something that I was doing, Ramanji, was checking Instagram the first thing I did when I woke up. And like Aparna said, like before I had filtered out people that warranted sort of negative energy, and that set the tone for at least the first 3 hours of my day. So if I saw something, negative news, or a post that garnered some kind of negative emotion within me, the first 3 hours of my day were gone. Like there was no room for mantra chanting, praying, even like taking a moment of inner peace. It was just completely violated by what I saw in the morning. So what I've chosen to do is like put the notifications off, so it's not the first thing I see in the morning, and choose sort of like affirmation, mantra, things that start my day off, because I've realized the importance of starting your day off on the right foot. And now I know the meaning of that saying. Thank you.
Great point, Lakshmi. Yet another important point to note, and I think if you would permit me to just generalize that point, I would say it would be good to set some kind of discipline or some kind of schedule for when you want to do it. So in your case, you were mentioning you don't want to do it the very first thing in the morning, right? Because that kind of sets the tone, mostly negative, if at all. So you would try to avoid that in the morning. So I would say, to generalize that point, it'll be good if you can create some kind of discipline or a schedule. When would I want to do it? That probably addresses the addiction part of it, or getting stuck in that vicious cycle part of it quite well. Best to do it when we are done with more important things that we need to do for that day. Good point. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Looks like no one else has anything to add. So once again, just to summarize it, let's not think of social media. I mean, let's not project social media always in in bad light. Social media is a very powerful tool and very useful tool, personally and for a group, for an organization too. It only depends on how well we use it. Like Amma usually mentions, we need to keep asking ourselves, am I using social media, or is social media using me? So getting consumed into it is what we should avoid. And for that, I feel we discussed mantra or some tool which we can think of to help us just step out for some time. And that will get us out of that vicious cycle. Is that okay? Okay. The second question, I feel the second and third are more or less the same. Let's read both of them. The second one, both of them are slightly long. Second one, many times when people belittle or disrespect me, I don't know how to respond. I want to be kind to them, and I don't know how to confront them about it. It can be hard when they are passive comments that can be seen as positive from a bystander's perspective. It's hard, especially when it happens at my workplace. So that's the second question. Oops. I lost the question. Let me just open the program once again. Okay, yeah. And the third question is, Amma says, even when someone is cutting down a tree, the tree provides that person with shade. And when people throw thorns at us, we should be able to throw flowers back at them. When people give us poison, we should give them payasam back. But how far should this go? Should I keep letting them? If a mosquito is biting me, should I keep letting it eat? How to know when to draw the line? So I feel both these questions are about how and when should I react. So I thought we can club these two together. So in terms of people, the tree, which gives shade to even people who cut the tree, or throwing back flowers when thorns are thrown at us, or giving payasam back when we are fed with poison. I feel the point here is not about giving in or giving up. It's more, I feel, if we understand it from spiritual point of view, it's more to not react, but respond. In any given situation, to react is different and to respond is different. To react is just that something that happens spontaneously, and at times happens it doesn't have strong foundation in wisdom. Response, on the other hand, is wherein we think about it well and then do something about it. So we need to respond rather than react. So, and when you say respond, we need to first understand their perspective, their point of view, their strengths, and more importantly, their shortcomings. When we understand the person on the other side, their shortcoming, dealing with them becomes much more easier. The example that Amma shares, a story of a Mahatma, or a realized master, who once is walking by a water body, say a river or a pond, and he sees a scorpion drowning in the water body. And he goes to help the scorpion. And the scorpion is actually trying to survive somehow, battle for its life. And as he holds the scorpion in his hand, the scorpion stings the Mahatma. And in the pain, the Mahatma lets go of the scorpion again falls into the water. And again, it's now trying to somehow stay afloat, stay alive. And he goes to help the scorpion again. He picks the scorpion up, scoops the scorpion up from the water, and it again stings him in the pain or in the fear. And he again in the pain drops it. Again, it falls down. Again, it's trying to escape death. And he again scoops it. It again stings him. This time he throws it onto the land, and the scorpion escapes death. So his disciple asks him, why on earth would you save the scorpion who's trying to sting you every time? I would have rather had it die for the pain it's giving me. And he says, what else can you expect from scorpion? Scorpion won't sing your glory. It's not going to start singing, oh, hail to this Mahatma, hail to this Mahatma. It's not going to say Mahatma ki jai. All that scorpion knows is to sting. That's the very nature of scorpion. That's its very innate nature. That's all what the scorpion knows to do. So definitely it was painful. I don't deny that fact. But getting angry at the scorpion for stinging me, for doing the only thing it knows to do, doesn't make sense to me. So somehow I try to protect it. Similarly, if we behold the same attitude of what the Mahatma does in this story. If we understand the other person, and rather than looking at their behavior as something negative, let's try to sympathize with them, telling, poor guy, that's all what he or she is capable of. More or less, in our mind, rather than feeling belittled, let us belittle them, telling, that is all what the person is capable of. I'm much better. Because I'm much better, I should be reacting much better, not in the same way. So the very first step is to understand their perspective, understand their abilities, their disabilities. That will definitely help us react with them better. And to make it easier for us, like I mentioned, let's consider them inferior to us. Then it's all the more easy, however big they are, however senior they are to us in whatever way we gauge it. Someone gets angry at us, that is their disability. And let's pity that disability. When we know someone is disabled, automatically, we feel much more empowered than them. When we feel much more empowered, let's exercise our ability to show mercy, show compassion, show forgiveness towards them. I think that will help us deal with them better. But so throw back flowers at them, give them payasam or give them shade is basically mentioning this. Try to understand who they are. And when we understand who they are, we automatically become compassionate towards them, or we'll have mercy towards them. When we have that, automatically what we give back will be flowers, will be payasam. So that's what I think this point of Amma's saying points out to. But at the same time, Amma also says it may be adharmic to just give up or give in at times. Sometimes we do have to react. And sometimes we just selectively listen to that alone, saying, Amma has said we should react. That's why I reacted. I don't like all this diplomacy. I don't like all this being nice. So I just react. Some people say, I don't hold a different thought in my mind and a different thing that I show outwardly. I'm very transparent. Whatever I feel, I just speak out. That isn't good either. Let's not go to that extent either. We have this, the four terms that Amma discusses. Samadana, Bheda, Danda. It's basically, it has, these four terms have references in many different scriptures. One of the people who kind of promoted it very effectively is Chanakya. Chanakya was the advisor in the Maurya dynasty in India, in ancient India, more or less. I think he was probably alive in the 4th century BC. I think it's like 300 and some BC. And he was a very to the point, shrewd thinker. And he has a lot of texts that he has written in terms of economy, in terms of diplomacy, in terms of how administration should be, etc. So he was one of the most effective advisors to the Maurya dynasty, the Maurya kingdom that ruled a big part of India, central part of India back then. So in his text, all this together is known as Chanakya Niti. Chanakya's Niti can be translated to his advice or his what's the term? It's not his ideas, his Niti, the best way of doing something. So his advice on what's the best way of doing certain things. So he says a king or a kingdom should have these 4 steps as part of having a diplomatic relationship with a neighboring kingdom or a neighboring king. Sama, Dana, Bheda, Danda. Whenever you have an issue with your neighboring king, when you have an issue with another party, what should we do? Our first approach should be Sama. Our first approach should be to make them feel comfortable. sometimes because they are uncomfortable that they are reacting in a particular way. So the very first step is to rule that out, that there is no misunderstanding here, no certain things associated with them that is making them do it. So Sama, make them feel comfortable, speak to them, make them feel better, share good words with them, good thoughts with them, etc. Second one is Dana. Dana is to give. So second one is to please them. Make them feel better by giving them something. So in diplomatic terms, gift something to that country, gift something to that king, and make them feel good about you. That fosters friendship, better relationship. So the Samadana. Then comes Bheda. If that also doesn't work, then you do Bheda. Bheda is to divide. When you say divide their power. Whatever is their strength, now divide it. Divide it and then break their strength. Do something that kind of puts them in a disadvantageous position. Thereby they'll be more prepared to receive your thoughts. So they should feel a little disadvantaged. They should feel a little, they should have a setback, basically. And then, so that's the third step, and see if you can reconcile through that. If that is also ruled out, is when Danda comes. Danda is to punish. Punish now is to, then confront them. So when you say when Amma says, when you see adharma, you should confront it. When you say confront, it should go through all these 4 steps. We can't directly go to the 4th step and say, because Amma asked me, Amma says you should confront, I went there. Every time, so that is the difference between reaction and response. Response is basically going through all these 4 steps. So every time we react to someone or something in a particular situation, as part of contemplation, what we need to think about is, did I go through all these 4 steps? Did I first try to speak with the person? 2, did I make the person comfortable and then see how the person reacted? 3, did I then try to do something that would kind of make the person a little more receptive, or creating a setback, and then see if I can reconcile? And then did I react? If I bypassed any of those 3 steps, definitely my response was not dharmic in nature. If I have exhausted all those 3 steps, then it's fine. The way I reacted probably is justified. So should I keep letting them do it? The question you're asking, if a mosquito bites me, should I just keep letting it do it? I understand that as an analogy. You cannot gift the mosquito something. I don't know how it applies to the mosquito. I'm not sure how to respond to that specific analogy. Give a little bit of our blood. Maybe you can keep a bottle of blood. A good suggestion, Arun. But definitely to people that we deal with at workplace, friends, AYUDH committees, satsang members, other friend circle that we are in. I feel we should definitely see whether I have gone through these 4 steps. I want to be kind to them and don't know how to confront them. It can be hard when they're making passive comments. So till now we discussed, first, try to understand their perspective, their abilities and disabilities. Most importantly, their disabilities. That will help us deal with them better. 2, go through these 4 steps when we respond. 3, this point that you asked, it can be hard when they are making passive comments that can be seen as positive by someone else. But when you are in that position, it's not easy to take it. This takes us back to one of the discussions we had in the past, right? I am who I am. I am not who I think others think I am. Most of the times we get triggered or we react in a given situation because I am who I am. That thought gets disturbed. And now we ourselves start doubting, oh, what he says probably is true. And when that thought kind of passively comes into us, Now we want to confront that thought. It's really not confronting that person. Rather, we are confronting the thought that, oh, I am such and such person, and now I myself doubt whether that's true or not. It's like the story that Amma says, right? There's a guru, a lot of disciples, and one day, a couple of disciples got into a big fight, and the guru calls them to resolve the issue, and he asks the other person, "Why did you, beat your fellow student?" And he says, "He called me monkey." Because he called me monkey, that made, that was so annoying. So I just beat him, black and blue. And the guru then says, every day during our classes, I keep telling you, you are the supreme, you are Brahman, Shivoham, Shivoham, you are the ultimate. And you don't believe that. And the moment he said you're monkey, you believe that and you started reacting. How's that? Similar to that. It's actually, as a matter of fact, we are not reacting to that person. Rather, we are reacting to that thought. I have an image about myself that I am a great singer. The moment someone says, "Oh my God, yesterday that bhajan was horrible," we are not really reacting to that person's comment. Rather, we have an image about myself, and that we ourselves start questioning. And because we start questioning, we start reacting to that, telling, "Oh, I cannot take the point that I am not who I think I am, or the image I had about myself." Because of that, I start reacting. So the third point is that I am who I am. I am not who I think others think I am. So if I am firm about it, I know who I am, then, the frequency of reactions, the magnitude of reaction is going to be very different. It's going to be much more wiser from our side. So let us have that conviction. Let us understand who I am. Let us understand my own abilities and disabilities, not the other person's alone. And let us be clear about it. And when we are clear about it, we won't react. Someone says you look in a particular way, and sometimes we react because I don't want to look that way. Rather, just accept the fact that I am awesome the way I am. However I look, I am quite awesome. Once we have a conviction, then we'll never react to when someone makes a comment about our looks. Similarly, just be clear of what my abilities are, what my shortcomings are, and be clear about it. Then no one is going to trigger us. And in spite of that, many may, do things at workplace, like you said, adharmically, then practice those 4 steps: Sama, Dana, Bheda, Danda. Talk. 2, make them feel better. 3, now create a setback for them and see how they react, whether they are ready to reconcile. 4, confront them thereafter. Does that answer both the questions? Anything that you guys want to add? Oh, I saw someone sent some message, right? Where is the chat here? Would be concerned if someone had bottles of blood. Oh, that was Aparna, not Arun, sorry. Okay.
Sorry, that was just a joke.
Yeah, sure. Okay, there are more questions. So before that, anyone who would want to add anything to what we discussed? Nothing at all? Okay, so how are we with time? It's 10 p.m. here in the East Coast. How long did we intend to go?
I think we can go until 10:15, Ramanji. And then, because we
Let's
don't have
take one more
games after
question.
this. One more question, then bhajans, and then that's it. That's it.
Yeah, so we'll do one bhajan after this. So let's just take one. Who's this Kai Vamanam?
Oh, no, I was just putting the context. So I just put the question in the chat for context.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Both these questions. Okay, so that's not... I have a question. Okay, Harini has a question. Let's look at that. I have a question. How do I properly process my emotions without letting them affect me? I want to learn from I want to learn from certain situations, but sometimes I suppress my emotions, as Amma gives an example of not allowing people to affect us. And then we have I am one who asked you about Amma's darshan on the first day. My question is it okay to share my experience with Amma? Will I dilute it by talking about it? What is it that you have to share? If you can just briefly do it, it should be fine, I feel. And then we'll take Harini's question. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right. Is it Chiao?
Namaskar, Swamiji.
Namah Shivaya.
Am I audible?
Yes.
So I wasn't gonna share. I wasn't wanting to share it here. It's just several people are kind of requesting me having a Zoom call with them, talking about like how it feels like my first darshan with Amma, how Amma feels like to me, like what kind of Amma did I get, and I don't know if it's okay to do the Zoom call.
I feel you have a discussion that inspires others with what happened, something positive that happened. Why not? You feel you can make others happy through that. You can inspire others through that. When it becomes a satsang, right? Any satsang is to create a positive feeling. Diluting experience with, you mean diluting the experience with Amma? I mean, I don't think you can dilute your experience with Amma. That is altogether a different thing. We just sharing what we experienced, right? As long as we are not giving ourselves airs, we are not promoting ourselves like I am big, you couldn't attend it, only I could attend it. I feel it's good, right? As long as we can make others happy and inspired, why not?
Thank you so much.
And then Aparna says many people are encouraged to share their stories in the ashram during their talk, right? In the satsang. Yes. Vidya says, does she want to share it, or she's asking? Yeah, okay. Now I got the question. Okay, now let's go back to Harini's question. So I have, how do I properly process my emotions without letting them affect me? I want to learn from certain situations, but sometimes I suppress my emotions, as Amma gives us an example of not allowing people to affect us. So I couldn't exactly register the question. So how do I, Harini, do you want to just elaborate?
Sure, Swamiji. Just like when we are learning from certain situations that happen around us, like I just don't understand like if we should allow them to like learn from them and see like what was wrong or right in the situation, or we should just like move on from like any situation that we see around us.
So one thing I feel in terms of assessing a given situation, in terms of did something happen right or wrong, and how we should react, I think first we should just go through these 4 steps that we discussed, the way we react. 2, and when we say reaction needn't always be me doing something about it. It could be bringing it to the attention of someone who could handle it much better than me, right? You have these Bollywood movies wherein the hero, the main character is in the college and he sees someone bully one of his friends or someone bully him, and then there'll be some grand music that comes in the background, and then this slow motion, he turns around, and then all this while the frail body suddenly becomes all muscular, and then with just one swing of his hand, the 10 people flying up in the air, that much strength that he gains, and suddenly he becomes a superhuman, superhero. I mean, that's very inspiring to watch. Sometimes it gives goosebumps to a lot of people, but some people think it's just funny. Probably that's the comedy part of the movie. But why I brought that example is we needn't think that I am the only one who needs to become a superhero that moment and do something. It could be probably much better handled if we bring it to the attention of someone. So, so when you say, how do I properly process my emotions without letting them affect me? So I feel one of the main things to do then is to define what your role is in that situation. Am I directly involved? Am I indirectly involved? If I'm not directly involved, it would be better that I have some concerned person, the right person to react to that given situation than me. Bring it to the attention of someone else. I see that two people are fighting on the street. Both of them are much stronger than me. Definitely me getting there to resolve that issue is not going to happen. Maybe it'll end up with two of them fighting with me after some time. So rather, I should call the police or someone who could handle it much better than me. So, we may have different emotions that come up, the way I want to react. Again, I feel it could go back to the previous question that we discussed. Try to assess the situation, assess each and every person, their context, their abilities, disabilities. That will help us get a better picture of how I should react. Two, try to understand what I can do, what I am capable of doing, what I am not capable of doing, and then react accordingly. And three, just don't react, but respond. And then why are you talking about suppressing your emotions? So is there a specific example that you could give that will probably help me understand the situation better? The context of your question.
Not necessarily, but when someone does something to me or something to one of my close people, I want to understand that someone has been hurt or I have been hurt, so I don't repeat it, or that it doesn't happen to someone else, and make sure I don't repeat the cycle to someone else, but also I don't want myself to get affected. And Amma always says they're having their own problems, so you shouldn't get affected by it, but also I want to know that something wrong has happened, so I don't repeat the same mistake to someone else.
Sure. Definitely, when we see something wrong happening to someone around us, and when it happens with us, we just address that question, address that in the previous question. But when we see something wrong happening with someone we like, someone who is our friend, someone who we care about, definitely our response should not be based on our emotions, because most of the times emotions are temporary in nature. And because they're temporary in nature, just to do something based on something that is temporary is not called for, because that will not, most of the time, that will not be the right response. So definitely don't let the emotions get better of us. We should always try to understand, assess the situation, and react. At the same time, not doing anything about it is also probably something that we should avoid doing. So what can we best do? Again, the same point that I mentioned earlier. See what am I capable of, and do something that I'm capable of. Else, get someone else who is better capable of handling that situation, inform it to them. So someone gets hurt by another friend of ours, our first reaction, rather than picking up a fight with the person who hurt my friend, I should first see how I can make my friend feel better. If he or she needs some kind of help, do that first. And then, so to compensate hatred with love, basically, to add more hatred to it by picking up fight with the other person probably is not the best way of doing it there. So first thing we need to do is inject the antidote. Most of the time, the antidote will be love. Some way of caring and bringing the heat down, of the heat of the situation down. So I think the first thing we need to do is to make the victim feel better. Now, whatever is required at that moment to make the victim feel better should be our first step. Second thing should be to see how can we avoid the situation again. For that, either I do something, or if I'm incapable of, I should bring it to the attention of someone who can handle it much better, and thereby not letting it happen again. And if I want to do something, go through the step of samadhana, bheda, danda. Talk to that person, make him understand, make her understand. If they don't heed to that, make them feel better. Maybe they are, insecure about something, and that's why they reacted. So make them feel better and see if it makes a difference. Not, then kind of warn them, make them feel a little disadvantaged, and then see if they react better. If not, then you need to do what you need to do in that given situation. And it's picking a fight is not always the solution in that given situation. The fourth one, though it says danda, punish, it needn't always mean we punch them or treat them with brutal force. Sometimes danda could be as simple as giving them a hug. It could be as simple as doing something very subtle. So it's not danda. We needn't always take it as a negative or a strong reaction. I'm not very sure whether I really addressed your question. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but also so only if we feel sadness for the person that is affected, then we can actually take the action. Even if our emotion doesn't affect the action, we still need to feel that emotion to take the action, right? But then when we feel that emotion, well, aren't we being affected by it?
Yes, that's a very good point. I mean, we look at Amma. Now, Amma, perhaps I would say there's no doubt probably there's no human being like Amma who would be bombarded with problems and worries that people have. She has to listen to so many problems and worries, and it often becomes very difficult to handle such situations. You get affected by it, but you look at Amma, she's least affected by it. I usually give this example. Someone comes for darshan now, they talk about them or one of their family members who's terminally ill and is about to die. And Amma, you can see tears roll down, roll down Amma's cheeks. She's sharing their grief, their feeling with them. Very next moment, someone else comes and shares a joke with Amma. Amma is laughing out loud within a matter of few seconds. And the very next moment, there's someone in the darshan line, coming in, the question line, asking Amma something about a serious thing about Amrita University or one of the ashram issues. And Amma is she's now forgotten about the joke. Now she's very seriously discussing with them. So when you say don't let emotion affect us, that doesn't mean we don't feel emotion or we don't respect emotions. Amma very well respects emotions. Is Amma sad? Probably Amma is not, but she respects the sadness or the sorrow that they are going through, and she shares that. But she's not affected by it. So I think that's something, a conviction that we need to have. And again, it doesn't come altogether. We cannot develop that in a jiffy, just like that. It's something we need to practice again and again and again. Again, we are in that situation. We need to keep reminding ourselves that, when something happens, when someone got hurt, let me not act as if I got hurt. If I act as if I got hurt, then I won't be able to help that person. If someone falls down and breaks their, fractures their leg, I shouldn't act as if I fractured my leg. If I also start acting as if I fractured my leg, then I won't be able to take them to the hospital or, give them whatever help they need. Similarly, if someone is hurt, let me not act as if I am hurt. What is best in that situation is I am not hurt. Only if I am not hurt can I help that person. So we need to have that conviction every time, and it's natural that we may get affected by that emotion. But we need to keep reminding ourselves that if I feel emotional, am I going to help them the best way I can? The answer will be invariably no, I cannot help them. So, what is the best way? Let me not feel emotional right now. What is most important is to help that person. So, keep our focus on helping the solution rather than the problem. I think we should focus more on the solution than the problem. The more we think about the problem, we'll get emotional. More we focus on the solution, there'll be no time or there'll be no room for emotion at that moment. Unnecessary emotion. That doesn't mean we don't share their emotions, we do, but our focus is on the solution rather than the problem. So if we practice very clearly, let me just focus on the solution, let me just focus on the solution, that will keep us from getting unnecessarily emotional or getting affected by the emotion. Does that make sense?
Yes, Swamiji.
Focus on the solution than the problem.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so it's 10:17. So maybe we should do a bhajan now.
Yep, that sounds